All right, boys and girls, this is our reading and writing PowerPoint that will show you what to do for reading and writing this week. The first thing I want to talk about is for writing, you will be doing a tic-tac-toe board. You can go ahead and read the directions that are on the PowerPoint. Basically, you're going to have this board on this screen. It's smaller. Hopefully, when you upload it from Edsby, it will be an easier image to look at. If not, please let me know. You have different writing prompts to choose from. Your goal is to get 3 prompts done this week. If you'd like to be creative, we're trying to do a tic-tac-toe board. So we want across this way. We want down or up. You can even do diagonal, okay? For reading this week, we're going to be focusing on point of view. Now, between the point of view that we read as a group and the point of view that you work on iReady, it's going to be point of view of informational text and point of view of fiction text. The first story that we're going to read today is The Big Storm. When we're reading this article, I want us to think of some questions about who is telling the story and how they feel. When you're done, you're going to take a look at the next slide, and there are some of these questions. Now, again, if you cannot print paper, don't worry about it. Write this on a notebook piece of paper, discuss out loud with your parent or by yourself. I just want you to think of these questions as we read the text. And it's also color coordinated if you'd like to be creative like that, if you get to print them out. So you'll see, how does Chrissy feel about the thunderstorm? Use text evidence to support your thinking. So you'd go back in the text and underline how she feels in red. So let's go ahead and get started reading the text. It says, The Big Storm. Bang! Chrissy shrieked at the sound of the loud thunder. The house shook and lights flickered. Chrissy buried her head under the pillow on the couch. She covered herself with a blanket. Her mom soothed her as Chrissy shook. Chrissy hated thunderstorms. They were the scariest thing in the world to her. You're overreacting, Chrissy, her brother Corey stated. He ran towards the window to peer out. The trees were blowing violently in the wind. Lightning streaked across the sky. Get away from the window. You could get struck by lightning, Chrissy yelped at her brother. No, I won't get struck, Corey said confidently. It looks really cool outside. You should come see. Mom continued to comfort Chrissy. The storm will pass soon, sweetie, Mom reassured her. So our first question says, how does Chrissy feel about the thunderstorm? Going back in the text, how does she feel about this thunderstorm? First off, I'm going to look at this photograph. And the photograph is of Chrissy, and she's got her hands over her face. So that's a clue that she is not liking the thunderstorm. Let's go in the text, the actual words, and see if we can find some words to describe how she feels. So in the beginning, it says, Chrissy shrieked at the sound of the loud thunder. If you shriek, you're making a noise because you are scared. Chrissy buried her head under the pillow on the couch. Another sign of being scared is when you hide your face so you don't see what's going on. She covered herself with a blanket. I can make a text to self-connection because I've actually been afraid of a thunderstorm before, and I hid myself under a blanket because of it. How does Corey feel about this thunderstorm? Now, Corey is her brother. So I want you to go back in the text and think, how does he feel about the storm? You can pause the video if you need to. The third question says, what might Chrissy's voice sound like when she says the following? Now, this is the quotation mark sentence from the passage. Get away from the window. You could get struck by lightning. Would Chrissy sound worried when she says this? She sound annoyed, confident, or reassuring? Which word best describes how she would say that sentence? Get away from the window. You could get struck by lightning. Number 4 says, what might Corey's voice sound like when he says the following? You're overreacting, Chrissy. Does Corey say it? Would he sound afraid, calming, confident, or bothered? Which word describes the way that Corey would say, you're overreacting, Chrissy? Number 5 says, how would you feel if there was a big storm? Is your point of view similar to or different from Chrissy's or Corey's? This is asking your point of view in the text. How would you feel about that storm? And then finally, number 6 says, with which statement would Corey most likely agree? Now we're focusing on the brother and what he would agree with based on what we've read with him in the story in the big storm. Do you think Corey would think that storms are interesting? Do you think Corey thinks that storms are frightening? Do you think Corey thinks it is fun to play outside during storms? Or do you think you should take all safety precautions during storms? So based on what we read about Corey, which statement do you think he will agree with? I will say, where it says storms are frightening, did he act in a way that it was frightening to him? All right, remember, if you need these documents, I'm going to upload them to the library on Edsby. You can print them out, color coordinate them. Have a great day.